Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, just kind of give you a heads up that we're running a stream, so there should be about a 10 to 15 second delay. Uh, so just to kind of give you a heads up if you're asking any questions inside the chat. Before we get fully started into it, if I can just do a mic check, can you all hear me fine? If I can just get a thumbs up in the chat or a yes, you can hear me, great. If not, we can adjust our audio from our end. Okay, awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Want to just kind of give you a quick overview of Modest3. We're a digital transformation specialist focusing on immersive technologies to leverage our clients' multimedias, whether it's for distant learning, distant education, or mass education, leveraging, of course, all the hardware that is available to us, which in our software, everything is platform agnostic. So mobile devices, Android, iOS, PC, VR, AR, all are welcome into the same collaborative environment. With that being said, I don't want to bore you. I want to actually show you the technology. So let's jump right into it. Here we'll start something a little more industrial, and then we will work towards academia and science and biology. So from here, let's go to preventative maintenance. So this is just a quick training to show you a micro level interaction with a full simulation. And the idea behind this is we can train navies across the world to do technical training with real simulation feedback. So if they remove a bolt, then they can remove the panel, or if they take off a wire, a system will emit signals just like the real simulation. So here we should start seeing my colleague inside a virtual reality environment. And what you're going to see is he has the ability to do micro interactions. So what that means is he doesn't just click on a large component and drag it away, and here you go, he's doing disassembly. That's not really accurate to the real world. So what we do here is here first he has to pick up the parts he's going to replace. And we're getting him to move a little bit slower, so not to shake the screen for you guys too much. But of course, in the real world, the technician can train at their own speed, because while they're in VR, they're comfortable with the movement. Us streaming the video can be a little uncomfortable for some viewers. Awesome. So now he picked up all his parts, and you'll see he has to pick up his tool. And in the wall in front of him, you'll see text change if he picks it up. So here it's telling him pick up your equipment, and once he finishes and picks up all the equipment he needs for his task, there's his next instruction. It's telling him to move to the gear cabinet to control. So let's go back to that. And now you can move a little bit faster. So this way we can actually get along with it. So now you can see that he's actually flying through. He's scaling the digital information from a screen, because it's very difficult to read a screen in a VR environment. So we give this ability to scale a screen to make it easier for you to read the lettering. So now he goes to his next step. It's time to check if the air pressure supply has been deactivated. And it's very important to know that we don't just do buttonology. We're actually going to get into it, but this is all a prerequisite to the job. He's got to make sure the unit he's working on is deactivated to reduce injury to equipment or injury to personnel. So he's now going to check if the engine is at a standstill. And now he's going to check if the last system is also at a standstill to do his final confirmation. Yes, 0 RPM. Close that. Perfect. And now he can move to his actual maintenance procedure. Now, because this is meant to be a training tool, we're actually going to hold your hand. We're going to give you highlights. Just like right now, you see the bolts are highlighting. Now, try to remove a bolt without using the proper tool. It's impossible. You cannot, because in the real world, you can't twist a bolt. You have to use the right tool. So in this case here, he will use the wrench to remove the bolt. Now, our level of accuracy all depends on the level of accuracy you want in the solution. So we can make it that a 10 millimeter wrench will only activate a 10 millimeter bolt, a 15 with a 15, a 20 with a 20. And if you use the wrong tool on the wrong component, you could potentially damage the equipment. So it's all connected to the real sequences and the real events of how this environment is supposed to operate. Now, this in front of you here is the mechanical room for a Navy for training. In the real world, this gearbox or this equipment would cost about $4 to $5 million. to make the environment functional and active like the real thing, to get full immersion training and education feedback, you're looking at about another $10 million to make it operate like the real thing. Give it, the proper exhaust, the proper cooling systems, electric, and so on and so on. But here, this solution, of course, didn't cost nowhere near the 10 to $15 million mark, much lower. And this gives the ability now to be able to copy paste this solution from school to school, from academy to academy. So no longer are students limited to what type of hardware and budget per school. You build a solution once and locally and share it globally. And this way we can really influence an entire generation of education. So now this task is long. He will go into every detail, but one cool thing here I really want to show you really quickly is feel free to stick your head in there all the way deep. So every single bolt is accounted for. We specialize in the micro interaction and the micro detail. So what you're seeing here is about 18,000 separate components that are all interactable, that you can interact with, remove, assemble, or disassemble. And this way you can do training over and over and over without having to invest in expensive equipment or risk damaging expensive equipment. So here now he's moving a lot faster because he kind of knows what he's doing. And this task is quite long, so I don't want to get you to follow the whole thing along. It's not really required. We wanted to just kind of show you the point where you can remove different components and systems apart. Now I'd like to actually jump you into the second solution. After just give us a quick moment to do a switch here. So what we're going to show you now next is, because this was a virtual reality solution, and VR is immersive and it's quite powerful to really, train the untrainable, or train in situations that are too dangerous or too expensive or just not practical to train in the real world for many of the physical barriers. So one of the physical barriers, of course, is expensive computers. If you're going to be operating VR, you somewhat do need a powerful machine that can run that solution at its high fidelity to really, get that immersion. Now, unfortunately, the vast majority of the world does not have powerful PCs that can support VR. But the vast majority of the world do own mobile devices, just like this. Nothing special, just a standard smartphone can do quite an impressive amount of work. So here right now, let me just launch our solution. So I don't see the connect. So I'm just going to quickly glare on my TV here. I can't see. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulties. Okay, so now you should be seeing. You want to connect to that little guy there, buddy? Yeah. So what we're going to do here is we're actually streaming or mirroring the phone to the stream, so you get to see what we're going to see through the mobile device, to show you how far can you stretch the capability and limitations of the hardware. So here we're just connecting to a standard mobile phone. Yeah, we're still here. We're just streaming the mobile device to the machine to show you the mobile device solution. Bear with us while we get this done for you. If anyone has any questions currently on what you've seen in the VR simulation, please feel free to ask. We want the live chat text to be a conversation and a discussion. I don't want this to be just a lecture. We want you guys to be part of the action. Please let us know if anything piqued your interest that we can collaborate on or clarify things on. So here I just logged on to our presentation tool. Hopefully you guys can see this. There we go. So this is meant to be our quick content creation tool, and gives us the ability to create VR presentations or training content, augmented reality or PC or mobile device, all in the same creation process, all streamlined. So what that means is when you create a solution with this product, is you give the ability for students, doesn't matter what type of hardware they have, to log in the same time. So we have cross-platform capability, which gives the end user to log in the same time. A VR user with an AR user, with a PC user, and a mobile device user, and they all can interact and collaborate in the same environment. So here I will jump into one of these quick environments here. So I'll go into the human body in XR. I'm gonna go for COVID lungs. And now you see that I get the ability to invite my friends. So here I will go for some people. Let me invite my friend Laura. Also friend my other friend. And then I'm gonna send launch. Now, if I check for VR, my system is intelligent enough that if I do have VR, which this PC is capable of doing, then I can launch the lesson in virtual reality. We will do that later on with augmented reality presentation, but for now, I just want to show you the ability to do multiplayer, because my colleagues or my friends are going to be joining me with different devices. I'm running on a PC, but one of them is running on an iOS iPad, and the other one's running on a Android device. So right here, we're going to demonstrate to you the capability to do cross-platform. So here now I'm just going to wait while my colleagues or my friends get invited. So here we see a 3D model, and the idea is here everything is for us is based around the 3D model, because you want to be able to not just join each other in an environment with an avatar. You want to be able to join inside an environment with a 3D scene that's interactable. Because if I'm trying to explain to someone, how COVID-19 affects the lungs, I could, and I know my craft. If I was a medical professional, which I am not, I can kind of do quickly on the fly. Say, hey, you know what? You're gonna feel pressure in the chest, and if I X-ray for you certain surfaces, hey, maybe we go through there. But on the left side, you see also this pre-made slides with pre-made states of the model. So here I can just quickly do a quick presentation to effect different highlights of how the body is affected. But as I switch the slides, we separate all the different components. And there's my colleagues with me. They're flying around the scene. There's one. Hello. And of course, in the same environment, we can populate videos or images to help illustrate the point. And there we have another person. The idea is we can join up in a room up to 30 users. Of course, if you have a dedicated server, that number can be spiked much, much higher. But as of now, 30 is a solid number to get a classroom going. And plus, we find that the audio starts really getting difficult inside an environment once you have a lot of users and there's a lot of noise, and it makes for a not so clear environment to communicate. As these separate slides, we can show you different components. And there we can show a model with an actual infected lung and how these little sacs affect the breathing versus what a healthy lung should look like, and of course minus the infection piece. Now the really interesting part is at any moment I can activate my grab functionality, and I can grab certain components and remove them and tear them apart for better understanding of what we need to do or how we need to understand the system. And here I can jump right in much closer to, the brain. Move it out of the way and really take everything apart to really get a deep understanding of how the body reacts to a disease, or if I'm just trying to educate, a classroom of high schoolers or elementary kids about the respiratory system, digestive, blood, nervous, whatever, right? And the idea is we want to give it to them inside a learning environment where learning can be interactive and using technologies they're already familiar with. Because you'll hear a lot of these words get thrown around where simulation, but in reality, this is all gaming technology. The industry doesn't like to admit this, but this is the reality of it. This is video game technology, and youth are already familiar with this because they play a lot of games. And the idea is here we can make the education more interactable and more gamified. So almost like play doctor or play surgery or whatever the case may be. And instead of the objective being, shoot your friends and run around, maybe the objective is to do a medical procedure, to do a maintenance task procedure, technical training. There's really no limitation to what you can do in an environment like this. It reduces the cost dramatically. Now we are going to be launching an AR version of this, which is active. But of course, whenever you're doing a live demonstration, things like this happen. So if there's interest in the AR portion, we'll see if we can get it running for our second presentation later on today. And my colleagues in the chat room can let you know our schedule when we're going to be presenting. Anything else, Altorium? Okay, and now we will jump into a different environment. Same thing, I'm going to invite a room of my colleagues. So I can find it. Auditorium. So here I'm just doing a quick update to one of our auditoriums. So here it's launched. So we'll jump right into the presentation. Same thing, same idea. I'm going to invite my friends. Yeah, there's one. And let me invite my friend, Miss Laura. And same idea, I can check for VR if I wanted to activate this environment in VR. Of course, I can do that. And now this was meant to be more of a lecture hall or a auditorium where the idea is you want to get all your visitors and your guests to be looking in one general direction for a presentation type purpose. So welcome to Modest3D's auditorium. Not only in 3D, but also in virtual reality, augmented reality, mobile devices are all, as I said, welcome. So now we'll just wait really quickly until my friends show up, and I can take my position here at the podium, or not, depending if I wanted to. The real, I guess, practicality of being in an environment like this isn't really, you don't want to replicate what happens, in the traditional sense, as in get everyone to line up you want them to experience the environment. And because the environment is interactable, you want to be able to do that for them. So here I can already see the name tag of someone joining, Laura. And we will wait for them just 1 second. So here you see that, just to give you a quick tour. So of course, here's going to be our 3D space or a floor for people to be able to interact with the environment. Here, of course, you see this the screens on the wall. I already have one of my guests here. And now we will jump right through the lesson. So as I hit next, plays like a 3D PowerPoint presentation, which is, there's some functionality to it and some practicality. So right here, for example, I can give people a quick demo of this product and what it does and give them an overview of it. I could jump in right to my draw pen and say, hey, we have draw on tools, ironically, X-ray capability to be able to X-ray any component live in any environment like you see here in the image. We can have the ability to play a video or display PDF. So actually, this presentation you're seeing right now with these images are all a series of PDFs that play. So we also have the ability to bring in a sound file, animations that are included within your model, 3D labels to be able to give something a name and highlight it like you saw with the COVID-19 lesson. Hit spots we can get into later on in a creation cycle. But the real cool part is here now is, of course, the video, as I mentioned. But if you're in a 3D environment, video and images aren't alone. We actually want the 3D model of that component. And here, we can fully bring that 3D model with its full interactability here. I can grab components, pick them up, throw them away, whatever I want to do with them. But here's the really cool part. So within here, here's our extra functionality. If I'm trying to educate a classroom about, thermal dynamics or how these systems work, how does a turbine engine work, and really get them to go inside to see what they actually want to know. To give you a quick, I'm not saying I'm a engineer or mechanic of these systems, but in a nutshell, all these little blades spin into each other into opposite directions, and they create a pinch of air every single time. Calculate all those pinches together, and you're creating boost. How do you explain that to a younger person in theory without actually getting them to stick their head inside the engine? This really is helpful for that. Also, here's some labeling. So the idea is we can use 3D labels to identify separate systems, but also color code the surface. So here, at this stage of the engine, it's going to be the coldest. As you get towards the back, here's where the fuel and mixture is added. Here's where the combustion begins, and here's where the full turbine takes its power. So it would be the hottest portion of the unit. But then there's the expand or explosion view, where if you really want to understand how a system works, then you need to expand it to its full pieces to see exactly how does it come together, how does it separate, and how does it work together. But the really cool part about it is we actually built in an algorithm, so you don't have to create these expansions in a fancy way or code it in. To us, it's simply as grabbing a 3D model, giving the root to the algorithm, and then playing with a slider. And here I can expand the model. I can say, oh, I don't like some of these views, so let me get rid of the the Z-axis and Y-axis, and only separate it on the X because it's a turbine and it separates nice this way. And I said, you can have up to 30 users in this environment comfortably. And as you see here, my colleagues are flying around their own environment. They're checking out the system. Yes, they still, they can hear me from this push to talk. We can communicate inside the solution. Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Hello.
And now you can hear the feedback. And the idea is you have 30 people inside this environment collaborating together. So this can be used for a wide range of use cases. One, of course, it could be straight education. You're lecturing, you're explaining how a system works to an audience around the globe. Second use case is it could be used for collaboration on designs for engineering. So you bring a system in place together, you have engineers from all over the world join the same spot so they can build a better global product. For businesses that are trying to demonstrate their product, especially in today's environment where you cannot travel, and the expensive cost of transporting all this equipment for different conferences and business events, that's super expensive and it gets heavy very fast. One-time investment, and you bring an entire warehouse of all your capability in a thumb drive. So this really does. We always say the option of you give me a screen and I'll give you the ocean. And this is kind of our method to really provide. So here I saw one of my colleagues is highlighting he's highlighting, or laser pointing on certain components. That kind of lets me know. It's almost like a hand feature where they tell you, hey, I have a question here. So now I can say, yes, somebody has a question about this component here. Please let me know what you want to know about it. And then now we can talk and say, what this does and how does it fit into the entire system. So the ability here is we want to be able to bring people together in an interactive environment with more than just, walking around the environment. We want you to actually do things here and have the ability to demonstrate a 3D environment, a 3D product with its full complexity. So here also you'll see on the menus, you see we have these teleport and group teleport. So the idea is here, because this room can have 30 people and the environment can be absolutely massive, well, how do you control all these people? How do you get them, look in this direction, everybody look here. You hope people have the etiquette to just kind of, line up single file and be polite, but the VR and digital etiquette is not developed yet. It's not awkward to stand on someone's face yet. So what we can do here is do a group teleportation where I can force what type of teleportation I want. Single file, round, or an arc. Let's do an arc. And the idea is here I'm going to put a flag down where I want everyone to look, and where that arc sits is where everyone in the room will teleport to. So here I forced everyone to that position. And let me quickly here switch it so I can make a linear one. I want everybody to look at this from this side here. And now I teleport everyone to that position. And I get them to look in that orientation. Then I tell them, thank you guys for joining me. Please check out this system here because it does this really cool thing. So whether it's for education or for sales or for marketing or for being able to use for maintenance procedures or whatever the case may be, 3D interactive environments leveraged in VR or in AR really take a more powerful immersive look. And because we invite everyone into the same environment that's using the different platforms, VR, AR, PC, mobile, Android, iOS, it does not matter. Everybody just log on and join the environment. This removes a big barrier globally because not everyone has access to powerful, expensive machines or powerful, expensive mobile devices. So by the messaging being, just log on with whatever system you have, of course, you have to expect the limitations of your hardware. You're not going to expect the same fidelity in a gaming PC with a VR headset to be the same in your mobile device. But the idea is to pass as much of that visual knowledge from point A to point B. And now if the system works correctly, I'd like to show you really quickly about, and I don't want to get too much into it, we can do a private session if you guys are interested in the creation process, just to show you how quickly you can create in this platform. So let me just here on the fly, hopefully it works, I don't get a bug or something, the demo gods smile favorably on me. Let me just close this down real quick. Here I will jump into Portal. Log on. I'm gonna go to one of my existing projects. And let's go for as well. So these are some of the projects that we've been working on, but let me see if I can find a So here I'm just going to populate the actual tool, the creation tool. Now you just have to jump into my models, PC. Let me see if I can start a new one. Now, please disregard the model. It's not too relevant to your guys' use cases, but the idea behind this is to show quickly the level of interaction that you can create. So everything in our tool is created to be resembling a 3D PowerPoint presentation. So if I want to create a quick idea where I'm looking at this object straight on, it's just a matter of looking at it and clicking away. And by hitting a duplicate state, then I'm creating a new version of it. Here I can say maybe X-ray, in case I want to do a slide for an X-ray. Now it's the same slide. All I have to do is just select the components I want to make X-ray. So now this component is X-rayed. But I want to create now a slide where components are highlighted. So maybe I want to identify some pieces. I can select the different components that I want to bring attention to, and by hitting 3D label, I can now provide labels for all the separate components in one swipe. And of course I can edit all the label features, whether colors, the leading lines, all that good stuff. I'm just trying to give you a quick overview of all the different features you can do really quickly. Here we can do isolate. So I can take certain components of this object that I want to isolate in a specific slide. So I'll hide them away, or isolate everything else and leave them. I can do a quick assembly, disassembly by, let's say for example, this piece here. Maybe on this slide I will highlight it. Then duplicate and say remove. And now I'll grab the same component that I highlighted and I'll just drag it up. And by switching from slide to slide, you see that component actually slide up. So the idea is here you can create a assembly or disassembly procedure really quickly by simply removing component after component after component. Also, I can embed, if I had videos in here, I'll be able to drag videos into a surface to make it play a video when the time comes I want. So whether I'm trying to educate people on this component or be able to just do a product demonstration, all capable within one platform. Now the really cool thing about this is once I hit the save button and I publish this lesson, it will create multiple versions from it in the background. One version for VR, one version for your AR, one for PC, one for mobile devices. And this way, it does not matter who your end user is, and it does not matter what hardware they have. All they have to do is log on and download. And depending on the hardware capability or limitation, the right version of the presentation or lesson will be downloaded to their device. Okay, thank you guys, and with this we came to conclude our presentation. Thank you for sticking with us, and if there's any questions you have, please feel free to reach out to my colleagues in the chat room. We do want to invite you to the follow-up presentations we have today. We have 2 more sessions, and if there's interest from your end and you want a private demonstration and we can really get into some specific details that you want answered, we would love to follow up with a webinar on one of our platforms and kind of get you on board to see and explore how far can we stretch XR technologies for global learning and global distribute global learning. So thank you guys for joining us. Would love to see you again for our follow up, and have a great day and have a great Sunday.